guys, to the MMOs.com podcast. This is Altai here with episode 66, and I am joined this week by...
Omer.
Matt.
Sure,
And once
And
again,
there's no Gumball.
right in the middle of
No
the
Gumball.
right in the middle of the overlay, we got a big old fat X. Gumball is still making the transition to gender neutrality. And he
Did you lower his HP to 0?
Oh
Like,
my
come on,
God.
he's gotta be dead by now.
Yo, he's negative by now. Because you
He's
get negative
bleeding
10,
out.
you're knocked out. You know, D&D style.
Speaking
You like
of those
lost
things, I forgot to come up with a better title.
Okay, Matt is still the resident cynic. Shu remains the witch. I am the lolly master, and Altai is still the grand wizard. We forgot to change this as well.
Wait, can we change these?
No,
Can we
Grand
change
Wizard.
these?
I need my wizard hat. 1 second.
All right, he's gonna get his wizard hat, and we're gonna get started.
This could get really, really bad
Now I'm
really
ready,
quickly.
boys.
I can't believe you just left it as the grand wizard.
Listen, the context is what makes it
Come
what it
on,
is.
come
Shu, you're
on.
adding the context. The context is within MMOs, all right? He's
I'm just saying.
you know, like a knight grand cross. It's like a grand wizard, all right?
Oh, the grand cross, the grand burning cross.
Yeah. Whoa. all right, boys.
All right, well,
Moving on.
this is why we need Sean back. All right, so weekly raid. Let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead
Link
and
it up.
grab it.
Yep.
I'm gonna link it up. All right. Weekly raid this week is how important is role playing in MMORPGs. So I know everyone has got a different story for this, but we do talk in length about the importance of a game's player base and fostering a sense of community. When you first log in, 100 players running around trying to kill kobolds, it creates a nice atmosphere. But how about those players that are embodied in their characters, who talk like their characters and develop mannerisms? Isn't that why you have stuff like, you know, the slash emote and stuff? So how do you guys feel about role playing in the games you play? Is it important in an MMORPG? Is it nice to have? Have you guys ever participated in role playing in your favorite games? So who wants to take it up first?
I think Shu probably has the most to say about this, so before we get to her, I'll do my small piece. I
Okay.
love seeing it, but I like seeing it mixed in with regular play. I'm more hesitant on like specific RP servers. I know why they have specific RP servers, because there's always assholes who like ruin it. But I like seeing it weaved into the world. Like in WoW, when you see someone walking instead of running, you know, like, and back, you know, when I used to play games, I would maybe spend 2 to 5% of my time role playing, just in between, you know, like PvP or whatever, just for fun. So I like it getting interwoven with regular play. It's a nice touch. That's my piece.
All right.
I don't think I've ever seen roleplay personally that added anything to what I was playing. Like, it's always hilariously bad whenever I see it.
Wow.
There are probably people that do it really well, you know, but it's always been hilariously bad when I've seen it. And like, you've got the people in Black Desert that stand in the middle of the road, walking down the road, going on about like, and today our mission is to kill all of these orcs. And it's like, that's what their quest is or something. And it's like, they all slowly draw their swords with the draw weapon button, you know, instead of going into combat mode. And they all just in sync charge straight down the road. And they run like a mile to the quest zone, right? They run literally like an in-game mile to the quest zone. And then there are the other people, like I've seen in Final Fantasy at, what's that tavern called? I haven't played it in like
The Drowning Witch.
No, the one in Old
I
can't
like the name.
remember.
I forgot the name. I like the name Drowning Witch though.
The Adventurers Guild, or
The one where
Quicksand.
Momody is. Quicksand, that's
yeah,
it.
the quicksand.
They're the people that hang out in the quicksand, basically doing ERP, and I'm just sitting there like, guys, please stop. Wait,
why are you watching, Matt?
Yeah,
huh?
Matt. Unless
Why
you
are you
participate, don't watch.
watching?
Either you participate or don't watch.
I have to get my quests sometime, you know. There are
So are
always
you, like-
ERPers. I just have to kind of like dodge through and make sure that nobody touches me, you know?
So are you like that? So are you like going into like first person view and you're just like watching the ERP and you're like just sitting there in the corner, like behind like a vase or something?
Or more like I walk outside and I realize what all the chat I've been seeing is all about when I see somebody like kneeling on someone's crotch, and I'm just like, how is this even possible right
That's
now?
what they all say, Matt.
All right, I'll take it for a bit too. I have a small bit of experience role playing. I usually just do it on and off, probably like less than my brother. I just remember one minor story I had in a game like an old game like Ultima Online, where this is where we would actually go into town. We'd actually set up our own tavern, and we'd craft these tables. You put the tables on the ground, like in a busy area, and put them all around a big like square. we'd have a chest in the middle where we have like all the alcohol. We'd have plates on the tables, so people would walk by and sit down, and we'd be like, "Hello, sir. You know, how was your adventure? We'd like that. We have a special deal today. You know, we give you 2 ales for 50 gold or something, right?" And we put the ale on the table after they pay, and they put the money on the table, and like we create this cool atmosphere where a lot of people were having fun, participating. But because like this is not a part of the game, anyone could have walked up to like the tables and just taken them. So every like 10 minutes, some asshole would come by and literally just pick up all our tables. So they're not worth anything. The tables are garbage, right? But people would walk by and just take all the tables and plates and be like, "Lol, effing role players, lol, lol, lol," and then walk away, and we have to like restart again. But
that actually worked for me because like making a fake bar in the middle of town, like the bank, that's only fun for like 10 minutes, right? So the fact that an asshole came along and ruined it was like a good time to stop and go hunt monsters and kill people again. And then later, maybe a week later, we do it again for like 10, 20 minutes till another asshole came along. So the assholes actually kind of kept us in check from getting bored of role-playing.
All right, and one last thing I want to throw in there. In Star Wars Galaxies, for example, Altai was playing a female character. I forget. I think it's a female human. And we were at the like this player-run town area, and he would always like be on the table strip dancing. All right, so Altai would always role-play the stripper and get money that way. And like sometimes like it was pretty funny. I was a Wookiee character, and like some guy went to like ERP with Altai. And he was like, Altai would name his price, right? Like a shit ton of money. And like, he's like, if you throw this in, you get the Wookiee for free too. So my character's a male Wookiee. And he's like, what? Why would we want the Wookiee in there as well? But like sometimes I get tossed into the mix too. He's like, okay, fine, bring the Wookiee too. Like, and they'd be doing this crazy RP. And I'm just like there dancing in my hairy Wookiee form, which was a lot of fun.
In my defense, in Star Wars Galaxies, there was a legit skill called dancing. Like, and people got like buffs or resting from watching it. So it wasn't all role playing. I was actually providing a real service in the game, mechanic-wise.
All right, if that's what you want to tell yourself.
So basically, one time you were role-playing an exotic alien stripper.
Yes.
Yes. I am proud of that moment.
It was fun. I mean, the stuff like people would ask you, and then you'd like try to get me involved as well, even though I'm a male Wookiee. I'd try to be like your pimp or something. It was we role-played it out. It was fun. And I bet she has the most stories here, though.
Yeah, even in Star Wars Galaxy, it's all about those small, for me at least, the small, like I'd roleplay for 5, 10, 20 minutes, and then just go about my day. So that was good.
Actually, I like RPing. Like, when I rejoined Final Fantasy, it was like one of my prerequisites. I told like everyone else playing, I was like, I'm kind of like, we had to join an RP thing, otherwise I'm not gonna play. And I don't know, it's important to me because I kind of want to feel like immersed in the world, and I feel like joining like an RP group and having like friends to RP with like kind of makes like your character feel more real. And I mean, that's not to say, I mean, there are people that kind of take it to an extreme level, and there's people that try to ruin fun for other people. I mean, there's just going to be people like that in games. You have the option of RPing in private, especially in Final Fantasy. It has like private rooms and stuff, but I mean, I do have a lot of good RP stories. I just don't really remember them right now. I wasn't expecting this as the topic because I didn't really look prior because I've had a pretty busy week. But
how about this?
Yeah,
it's
pretty important to me.
Like a lot in
a lot of games, Final Fantasy, a lot of MUDs I used to play. Just online too. Like I play a lot of like Dungeons and Dragons. I'm actually playing Dungeons and Dragons tomorrow, like a new game. And I like the people that I play Dungeons and Dragons with. We like do text only, so then it's like roleplay heavy. I mean, I'm just trying to think. Like I remember you and some in Ragnarok. Oh, go on.
I remember you and Remo were playing Second Life for a while. I know those stories.
Oh, I played the shit out of Second Life.
There was some role playing Second Life shit.
That game was not allowed.
That was pretty fun. That was pretty fun though. Going around with them. Right, we had fun.
What are you talking about? We're always G-rated. Always for the kids. Come on.
All right. I mean, for you guys that missed a small story, I was on Second Life and I went to a strip club. Right, people were role playing and there was a stripper who heard my voice in game and was like, "Holy shit, is that Omer?" It was a girl. I'm like, holy shit. What are the odds that some random stripper in Second Life recognizes who I am? And then we became friends since then. And I've gotten a bunch of cute Snapchat pictures from her.
Yeah, we know this one.
All right, let's move on. That's a good.
But okay,
before
simple,
we get more personal.
How important? I like Second Life.
How important do you think role playing is? Like, if an MMORPG doesn't have a role playing community, I personally think it's a deal breaker. I think it's kind of like a thing on the side where you want to let like people that want to do it, give them the tools to enjoy it. But I don't think it's going to make or break a game at all.
No, it's gotta be
Depends on
organic.
who. Like for me, it's like a big deal. So like that like reduces a lot of the enjoyment for me. But I'm not trying to push that onto other people. Like
Yeah.
I don't think developers should focus on it because even though I like to RP, I understand that the roleplay community is a niche, and like most of roleplay happens on like forums and message boards anyway. So it's kind of like, it's not
Yeah.
something that developers should specifically put resources into unless they like there's a lot of demand for it in that specific game. But
Unless you
like
design
for
the game around it too.
exactly. So like for like a mainstream game, I mean, like World of Warcraft, I mean, I think having like them adding RP servers is like a nice gesture, but like
That's it. Yeah,
you
that's
know,
the extent
that's-
what they can do.
I mean, and in general, as long as you have like nice things that like non-RPers like non-RPers still like housing, they still like furniture, they still
Yeah.
like having things to do like aside from fighting, right? If you add those, the RP people will just naturally like, they'll just come and they'll enjoy that, and that's enough, I think.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. That's agreed. Just give them the tools. Just make fun gameplay tools, and the RPs will just do their own thing with them.
Yeah, Mind Over 9000 says give them an RP channel. I don't even think that's necessary. Like, why stop there? Give people the ability to make channels, and then you don't even have to make an RP channel.
Yeah, that's fair.
People
Yeah,
will make their own.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I don't think it's totally important, but I think that having an RP community is a testament to like how strong the world building is in a game, or how strong
That
like
too, yeah.
the story or something is.
That's a good point.
Right.
A lot of these Korean grinders, it's hard to like want to roleplay in them because the worlds are so inconsequential and like no one cares, right? So certain games like WoW has a great lore, so it's easy to roleplay in that world or want to roleplay in that world. That's fair.
And then as far as RP channels go, it's not quite the same thing, but I remember when they added a roleplay channel in the light blue text to what was it? Black Desert. I remember our entire guild was mad because we weren't going to be able to like laugh at it without specifically having that channel on all the time. Because it was off by default.
I think from there we can take to our what game we played this last week, and I think we should talk about Dungeon Fighter Online because we did end up playing that for Sunday Fun Day. I think
did.
How
we
was
saw
that,
some,
guys?
Honestly,
have you never played?
I
played
think
it
we
before?
all liked it more
No.
than we thought we would. Is that
I
fair to
don't
say?
like it.
You don't
You
like
don't like it.
No.
All right, tell us why.
It's the same reason I don't like Black Desert. It's you play as an archetype rather than your own character.
Oh, yes, that's true. That's true. It's very streamlined in that sense.
It's a
I'm
character-based
that's like a deal breaker for me. It's like
Mm.
so hard for me to play a game that has that.
Overwatch!
There you go.
Overwatch- It's not an
Overwatch is
MMORPG,
not an MMO
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
It's not an MMO.
Whoa, it's not an MMORPG.
Okay, excuse me. It's not an MMORPG. So I don't play Overwatch. Oh, actually, I did do that in Overwatch one time. I played Ana, and there was a Pharah, and I was like calling her my daughter.
Should you even roleplay in Overwatch?
Yeah, I did it as a joke though. It wasn't like serious. But
That's fair, but I think one thing that really like stuck with me after DFO, and I've been recognizing for a long time, that was we brought this topic up before, so I don't want to get too much to do, but difficulty in MMORPGs. It does seem like so many of these games have gotten so streamlined that the early experience becomes so like formulated. Because again, most recently the two games I played most recently are DFO now and Final Fantasy 14. And in Final Fantasy 14, you don't have that same sense of like you're face rolling everything. Whereas people have left in the comments saying, listen, you're going to face roll everything until you get to level 50, and that's when the game actually starts picking up. Until you get to higher level, you just face roll the content. And Final Fantasy 14 is like almost exact contrast. It's slower paced. You take the world in. But do you think this streamline that we've seen in DFO is a good thing?
No.
Yes.
No.
It leaves a bad first impression, like big time. And I mean, I had more fun with it last few times I played it because I was on my own. Like when I played with you guys, I said it a few times during the stream, but I literally did nothing for most of the maps. Like every time that I would try to kill something, like the charge up on my skills for that class took so long that you guys would have killed it by the time I got there. I got a D in one of the maps because I couldn't hit anything. So
too quick.
I gave up and just was talking and basically mindlessly moving through the zones and like beating up scenery, hoping that I get points out of it after some point.
Yeah, I think what they did now is like they just took the path of least resistance. They did clean up some of the content. Like I remember when I first played it when it launched in the West. The maps were different than they are now. Like there was this really long like forest area where you kill goblins and stuff. So I didn't see that this time. So the maps did change since when I played. But what they have to do, and which I doubt they will because the Western market is so small for them, is they need to cut basically from 1 to 20. They have to cut 80% of the content and make the remaining 20% just level faster. So you can get to 20 in like 20 minutes rather than an hour or 2 hours. So they want I want people to progress level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but it should go faster, and that way you can get to the challenging part faster.
I think you're alone in thinking that. I think most people are going to want the content to just be more challenging rather than go faster. Like, one of the biggest complaints I see about Korean MMOs and every English is English primary language first in every English primary language forum, one of the biggest complaints I see about Korean MMOs is how fast you level. Like a lot of people don't like that you level that fast, and getting to 20 in like 30 minutes is going to be like a huge deal breaker for a lot of people.
True, but I'm working with the assumption that the game does get harder at higher levels, and I'm also working with the assumption that it's too late for such an old game to completely rebalance the early game, right?
Ideally, that's the reason
they would rebalance everything and make the whole new experience challenging and new and unique and refreshing. But that's not gonna. That's to be realistic. That's not gonna happen. So they should just cut as much of that early content as they can and get you to the challenging content as soon as possible.
Also, Matt, let's say somebody who played DFO, let's say from the get-go, right? Let's say on the Korean version, it's been uninterrupted, still running, right? So let's say they progressed to max level and they kept the difficulty the exact same. So like they added so much content to DFO over the years. I mean, the game's been out for like over 10 years. They've added so much content that unless you started playing early on, if they kept the difficulty and pacing the exact same, it may not be fair for newcomers because then they literally have no chance of experiencing that in-game content because they have to sink so many X number of hours. And I think that's their logic behind it. Because you can't expect new players to compete against people who spent 10 years if the pacing hasn't changed at all.
That's kind of a fallacious argument, though, because you're asking new players to not experience it the way it was originally intended to be experienced.
Well, clearly, this is a decision that the developers have also made already with DFO.
I know, but the argument that you should make it easier just so new players can catch up is kind of fallacious.
No, I'm saying that's their argument. That's the argument. I mean, I think you should just cut that content out, straight up. If you're going to do that, cut the content out straight out.
And speaking of cut content, WoW, level 100, you start with the new expansion. I think that's the least bad option to have, rather than rework all the content, shrink the zones, cut the old zones. This is like the least bad. Just plop you here, experience the content the way it's supposed to be experienced.
At the cost of not knowing any of the story, though.
True, but again,
yes,
least bad.
Least bad.
From what I hear, WoW has gotten a little bit complicated, and I don't know how complicated, but a little bit.
At this point, they should just make an alternative universe for WoW, right? Like, the world just falls into like a blender and just shoots out a different dimension. There you go. Problem solved.
Story issues solved. I mean, at first, I think we all had that initial, I think, was WoW the first MMORPG to just sell max level characters, like very high level characters? If not, I think
I doubt it.
We all had this initial skepticism, right? Yeah. We've all had this initial skepticism, like, is a bad idea. But honestly, having played through the WoW early content with Mists of Pandaria, getting to level 85 or 90, whatever it was. Again, I did all that needless content, which was super easy and mind-numbing. It's actually, I would have been happier if I just started at the higher level, at least like level 80 or something. I can get the last 5 levels on my own, where the pacing actually made sense. Because once you get to the latest expansion content in WoW, it's paced appropriately because it's designed for that level. It just, all the old stuff does get washed out. So I think it is the least bad option, as Altai said. It ends up becoming the least bad option. Does anybody have any a more elegant solution for this?
Put high-level content mixed in with low-level content so that the world always feels full.
Yeah, that could work too. I mean, I think one suggestion I read online was have moments in a game like DFO, for example. Like one thing you could have changed was during the quest, right? You could still have the exact same, but have it every 4 levels, like 4 stages you go through in DFO. Have one level that requires you to actually stop and literally think about all your moves. So you're still required to learn the game, where everything else is still fast. So imagine after our 5th mission, 6th mission, we're face rolling everything. We're not even thinking. And then we hit that 6th mission. It's like, holy shit, we just wiped because we didn't think about it. We just rolled in and died. So at that moment, we had to stop, equip all our optimal gear, look at our skills, read over our skills, and learn how to play our classes. Had the game done that, and it doesn't do that all the time. Just every like 6 levels, every 7 levels, every 7 dungeons. I think we'd have appreciated the game a lot more because we would have actually learned the game more too.
I think a lot of people would get pissed about difficulty spikes, and then it's spiking back down right after.
But
Yeah,
look at the alternative. We're
can't-
face rolling the game.
You know something that Matt said something about, like, was it again adding high level content into low? Yeah, Final Fantasy tried to do that. I mean, they didn't do it correctly in my opinion, but they did add like the Atmos. You know about that, Matt?
Which one? Is this 11 or 14 we're talking
14. 14. They
about?
added like
I wasn't around for most of it.
Okay, what they did was there's these things called fates. I'm sure Omer knows what they are. They're like these, you know what fates are. They're randomly random events that occur that like automatically adds you to the quest, and then
These dynamic
everyone
quests.
dynamic quests, yeah. So what they did was they created this thing called Atmos, and it was pretty shit. But I mean, it's kind of what you're talking about. It's Atmos make it so that high level players want to go to the lower level zones and then do the fates there. So you have like these giant like hordes of like high level people, and then there's low level people sprinkled in that are actually trying to do their own quest.
Mhm.
And that's how they artificially like forced
Blended
like,
it in.
blended it in, yeah. And it ended up being like the biggest grind. It was fucking terrible, but they tried, and I guess like that's just an example of something that Matt said.
My issue was the face rolling in DFO because like the level of face rolling that we all expect. Until, the game is, it picks up. Everyone says once you get level 50, you have to actually think about your moves, about your gear, your skill builds, and you kind of have to focus a little bit. But the face rolling is what does turn me off though, because I wasn't face rolling in FF14 early on, but that's because the game is still relatively new. I have no doubt in 5 years when all the content in FF14 now is like super dated, we're going to face roll through FF14 as well, and the game like really picks up at level 50, 60.
Well, the thing is in Final Fantasy, like even with high gear, like you still have a lot of dungeons and stuff that can still be lethal. So I think if they were to increase the EXP track but still have instances that were still lethal, I think that would be a good compromise. Like
that was my solution.
Yeah,
every 5
exactly.
6 dungeons you have that level that requires actual coordination and thinking.
Every dungeon, like there should just be like 2 ways to level. Like you can either solo it up and like have a boring time, or you can group up and actually challenge yourself. And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if one is faster than the other. People will still go to what they want to do. Some people want that mindless grind, and some people. It depends what you're feeling like on that day, right? I'm sure you have days where you want to mindlessly grind, and then you have days you want to be a little bit more active. So I think that's a good solution.
I just don't like the current solution developers have done. I think I'm not the only one, because again, there was a thread recently in RMRPG that's the importance of difficulty in MMORPGs, where the guys essentially complain that games have become so face roll easy nowadays, and it seems to be something that's it's something that's repeated a lot. So I don't think it's just us that feel this way, but no one seemed to figure out a good solution to it yet on the developer side. And I'm not saying we have all the answers. This could be our solution could suck too. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer over there either. But other than that, I think DFO was still pretty fun.
Yeah, to bring it back to DFO, with all the faults or whatever with the face rolling, I had a good time. I had more fun with it than I thought I would. And honestly, as a new player, even though this wasn't perfect, this was still better, I thought, than the initial new player experience back when it was first came out. Because I'm okay with slow leveling, right? But in the initial DFO, you literally play the same maps, the same background, and the same enemies for like 10 hours to get anywhere. Like, it was too much repetition, right? So and I do see myself maybe playing this one again. I don't know if you guys would be interested sometime in the future. Besides that, what else? Oh,
I had fun playing solo because it was a little more challenging too. It was good, but it was too easy. But yeah, solo was fun.
Solo was a little slower. It wasn't any harder, though, to be honest. It was slower.
A little bit harder for me. I died like once or twice.
Because you didn't know about those items you get, right?
Yeah,
So,
but still.
So basically, for those watching, what if you do know MapleStory? They kind of did the same thing. Like, think of it like pre and post Big Bang with DFO in terms of like ease of leveling, ease of content. Basically, you get all the super gear at level 15 you can equip, and then it's just like it's better than anything you can get at that level, and you just face roll with it. So if you want to face roll, beat up some mobs, give DFO a try. It's on Steam now. It's relatively new still on Steam, right?
Yeah, and somebody actually mentioned too, all the Steam numbers are actually basically all new players because the game integrates these Steam accounts, so you can't log in. Existing players can't play their characters through Steam. So basically, the 2,000 players we saw online last time concurrent shows that new players are jumping the DFO because of Steam. So the numbers are actually quite good to have that many new players just jumping on the game.
Yep. We'll see how that does over the, because it's still, like I said, it's new on Steam, so we'll see the retention rate over time.
All right, we got to transition to a pretty. I guess it'll be our first controversy because it's going to be Black Desert Online again. Cacao Games managed to get themselves in the spotlight again. I know we talked, I think, 2 weeks ago that they lied about previous issues, and now it seems to be that they found themselves caught in another lie of sorts. Basically, for you guys that are unaware, they actually said they were going to release all the awakenings in Black Desert Online all at once. And there's a rationale behind it. They actually said the reason we're not going to release them right away is because we want to release them all at once. And the reason behind it was they wanted to ensure PvE and PvP balance. So basically your progressions for your classes.
Okay.
And nowadays seems normal, but now they kind of did a 180 and they said about all that. No, we're going to release them one at a time now.
I don't get why companies do this. Like, just don't promise anything.
Just don't say anything.
Just don't say anything. Or here's a concept. If you're gonna say something and you're gonna fuck it up, then make a post and say this is why we did this, and at least say something. Don't just be like, "Hey guys, we changed our mind," and then don't explain it.
Well, they never actually promised it. What they had said is that they wanted to do them all at once because there were going to be PvP balance issues, because Awakenings, I guess, have a lot more power than they just let on by this. And I mean, it's so weird to me that they have so much more power. If you want to keep the old weapon that your class had and you'd like the playstyle of that, I think you should be able to, because the Tamer, for example, goes from this little short sword to a bow staff. And I'm sitting there thinking, what if you don't want the bow staff? You know what I mean? But basically what happened was, what people think happened at least, is that Pearl Abyss had a huge part in this, and they wanted them released one by one. And Cacao Games' solution was to release them weekly or bi-weekly to make up for the fact that they're not going one by one. But there are two problems. One, why was it delayed this long if this was going to happen anyways? Because it was delayed originally, allegedly, because they wanted to have them all at once, and they couldn't do it at the time, which they kind of couldn't do it at the time, because at the time they had promised that not all of them had been released. And then the other problem is, but weekly or bi-weekly still means that some of the Awakenings won't be out for 6 months. So some classes are going to be disadvantaged for 6 months.
Wow.
That's ridiculous, dude.
So, okay, I'm not really sure the Ascension stuff works. You did mention the weapon change, but would it be fair to say it's like adding a third class advancement for one class but not the rest? Is that accurate or no?
It's kind of like a class advancement, but it's an increase. It's an increase in power, and you get a different weapon.
That's so weird that they would release for one class before the others.
Well, that's how they did it in Korea, because they didn't want them at a time, and they were months apart in Korea.
But what's the rationale? Just content drip or something? Or I don't get it.
I don't know.
Does that totally ruin guild PvP, regular PvP?
Yes,
it does. Yes, and my favorite comment was Cacao goes, "We want to release them all at once." Pearl Abyss goes, "Well, if you release them all at once, it'll be $10,000. If you release them one by one, it'll be $9,999. And then then Cacao goes, "Okay, we'll release them one by one."
Yeah, it makes no sense. That is really weird.
And they have said before that they wanted to release them for that reason, to make them more balanced. And now this on top of the cash shop issues we had 2 weeks ago with being able to buy cash shop goods and sell in the auction house to get in-game silver, which is essentially power. So there was some pay-to-win issues. The problem with this now and the previous issue is people are left wondering, why is this game buy-to-play? Was it the initial reason for making this buy-to-play was we're not going to have any of that pay-to-win stuff, and that we're going to have more balance and more thought out into the content release schedules and stuff? People thought they were buying into a game that was under this specific business model, and now it's almost like some people do feel betrayed. Again, keywords.
got
Some people.
suckered.
Some people.
His got suckered.
Well, okay.
People got suckered.
Even okay.
I'm just saying. I called this
Yeah.
game. Called this game when it first came out.
Well,
Yeah,
basically,
bad
what
vibes.
I think happened is Cacao Games Europe is it's a subsidiary, obviously, and I guess they didn't have as much pull, and I think they got a shit deal on their contracts where they wanted to do all this, and Prolibus is just like, no, we don't have to do this, so just do it.
Wait, before we is Cacao Games a subsidiary of Perlibis? Do we know that?
No, not of Prolibus. It's a subsidiary of
Dom
Cacao.
Games.
Yeah.
Oh, and now is Dom Games have any affiliation with besides just the publishing agreement? Are they owned by Perlibis or no?
No.
Okay.
I
They're
just think they got a shit
Okay.
contract
Okay.
for the European version. That's my my guess, you know.
Mm-hmm. Try to see if there's any relation between them.
Not other than Cacao also publishes Black Desert in Korea.
But obviously the developer is pulled too, and both. It just seems so weird
Prolibus
they would
is
do
the
this.
developer.
It
and
just seems so weird that this ends up happening like this. And I do want to say too, I mean, some people have said it's not a big deal, and I think you can still enjoy Black Desert Online completely fine with all these changes, right? I mean, a lot of people, I think most players aren't even concerned with this stuff. I think most of us playing the game, grinding, having fun with their friends. I think it is unfair, and it does kind of give you a slap in the face that you lose trust in the developer and the publisher to be treated this way. But the direct impact on most players is still going to be negligible. It's just it leaves a bad taste in your mouth for them to pull a move like this.
Well, I think it's also underplayed how many people took part in playing Black Desert Korea, Black Desert Japan, Black Desert Russia, and then moved to the NAEU version. So even though it's like, it kind of sucks that they got some of these features in the NAEU version anyways, it's just, it doesn't matter because they dealt with worse in the other regions. You know, they didn't have the limit on the market sales, and they also had I think they were notorious for having hackers in the Russian version. And I mean, it's just that they had to deal with worse, so a lot of them are just like, whatever, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the first one is the first awakening though. If you're still playing BDO and want to check it out, is going to be on August 31st, along with the Valencia Part 2 update, and it's going to be for the Warrior to get the Great Sword. So that's
Warriors.
Warriors
and
get
one
first.
more defense here. If you're just a casual player, you're not looking for the late game PvP. You just want, if you can find like if you got, you're bored. I think the game is still like what, $20 for the base game BDO.
30.
30. Okay, maybe wait till it's a little cheaper or try it on a friend's account or something. But it's not a bad $20, $30 game to play for like 10, 20, 30, 40 hours.
You're gonna get your money's worth out of it. It's just I doubt you're gonna play out beyond 50. Like most people are probably gonna hit 50, realize what the grind is gonna take, and they're just gonna be done with it at that point. But up to that point, you're gonna get plenty of money's worth out of it, you know.
Yeah. Guys, I'm ready to double down on my bet. It's going free to play in 6 months or less now. I think I said a year last time. 6 months or less now.
Yeah, it seems like. I mean, it seems like Pearl Abyss is going hard on that, making it like the other regions. I mean, it seems like what happened was they hired a whole new staff that lived in Europe to work on the European version and westernize it, and now the publisher had all this goodwill, and the developer just wants to throw it out the window because they want it just like the other versions.
No, I'm not ready to just condemn the developer. I think the publisher has control over here too. I mean, the publisher has the right to monetize the game typically.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what it sounds like. And I mean, in some of their statements, some of the community managers have been like, well, Pearl Abyss wanted it. We talked with them and they wanted it like this. That's
so easy in the past to blame to somebody else, a mysterious Korean company that we can't complain to, you know? That the way I see it is, look, the guys at Cacao Games, they made a lot of money on the game. They sold millions of dollars worth of copies of the game, and they made a killing. And they realized, wait a minute, okay, now that we're buy to play, the initial sales are trickling down. We sold like 200,000+ copies, and the sales are going down. We got to sell some more stuff in the cash out to make money because we're not making as much money as we used to. And then they started doing some of the quote unquote pay to win stuff to make more money, and they want to extend the life of their content with these with the awakening content stuff. I think it's purely a monetization issue, and the publisher just wants to make more money. That's the way. That's my estimate of what's going on. I'm not ready to blame Pearl Abyss. I think they want to make money.
Let me throw some random game stats down.
The way I see it, they're making a decent amount of money. They publish it in 2 regions, and they're not just going to like throw away their chance at a contract renewal just because of wanting to blame it on someone else. You know what I mean?
But the blaming on somebody else, like that goes unchallenged because nobody's going to find out if Kakao Games does it because they're a Korean company and we're all bitching in America.
But they could. It's their game that they're keeping an eye on.
All right.
All right.
I'll tell you what you're gonna say.
All right. So, well, I'm a big, like stats guy. Like, I just love looking at like random charts and stats.
We know.
Okay.
So here's this ranking of the top Korean MMORPGs by popularity. Like, it updates pretty regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, obviously, is still Lineage, but interestingly, Black Desert Online has actually moved up the charts. It's still nowhere it's not good, right? It's number 32 in the MMORPG category. So it's still below Uncharted Waters Online. It's below the original Ragnarok.
It's below Uncharted Waters? What? That's doing well?
No, that's 31. 31 is not good, right? So
hold on.
Okay, I was gonna say, what?
Is that data based only on the net cafes, or is it based on something else?
I don't know.
Because somebody made a rebuttal to that claim about BDO not doing great in Korea. He linked a different source saying it was number 8 or number 10. And that was based on some other set of data. So, I mean, we're not ready to call it, on that chart you're looking at, you're right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So whatever metric they're
yes.
covering, it has moved up. So it's still good news for BDO.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these translations are hilarious, like whatever Furin Kazan is. And then Tree of Years. I like Tree of Years.
Yeah.
Tree of Years. I think the Chinese translation was Eternal Tree or something. So the translation is always fun.
Eternal Tree sounds better than Tree of Years.
I mean, there is some validity to this chart because we do know Lineage is number 1, right? We know Maple Story is still big.
Look at number 8. Look at number 8 for a moment. Has anyone here played Hero Online? This is literally the definition of generic. I challenge you to go on Netgame. It's still published in America and Europe, and it's called Hero Online. I played this ages ago, and I'm like, why would anybody play this game? It's so generic. But then we look on this list, and it's making all this money. It's making more money than Terra in Korea. Really? It's this. Oh my God! How is this possible?
Okay. I like this translation. Not Future War Online. So, guys, whatever it is, it's not Future War Online. All right.
What is that EM over there? Is that supposed to be Netmarble?
I don't know. Producer.
That's Hero Online. Don't they publish it in Korea too?
Why don't we click it? It's M-Game. So EM stands for M-Game.
All right. Somebody asked, where's DFO on that chart? Can you scroll through? You can find it.
Oh, right. M-Game is part of NetGame's platform, I think.
Yeah.
I don't actually see the dungeon. Let me see.
Again, that's it could be DNF or something. But again, that shows you that chart may not necessarily be perfect representation of what's going on.
No. Here's why. Dungeon and Fighter is actually number 4. See, this is an MMORPG category. See, in Korea, they don't have Dungeon Fighter as an MMORPG.
An MMORPG for whatever reason.
So it's Online Games Weekly Top 10. So Dungeon and Fighter is number 4, which just below Lineage and above Maple Story. So on this, Maple Story is number 2. So what they're doing here is they're not classifying Dungeon Fighter as an MMORPG. It's probably in the same category as a game like Diablo 3, which is number 9 overall, which would put it above Blade and Soul. So that's the reason. Just classification issues.
That's fair.
So wait, where's Overwatch? It's not
Overwatch
even in the top 10?
Yeah, we're looking at this MMORPG list over there.
Yeah, but over there, it's not even in the top 10.
Let's find out.
Interesting. If you look again, we're not sure where is this game metrics?
No, that's not game metrics.
Game metrics, for
explains
example, Game metrics has is measuring how much people are playing the game, not necessarily how much money they're making or anything, how much they're playing the game based on net cafe surveys and numbers. And in net cafes, Overwatch is still number 1 in Korea. In fact, it was not just game metrics. It was actually cited by Blizzard themselves, saying we are the most played game in Korean net cafes in their latest earnings report. So their popularity is being boasted everywhere now. But it's interesting. Look at the numbers now. Look how close it is.
I remember that. Overwatch is falling. It used to be over 30.
Yeah, it's falling. The league is crawling back up.
Yeah.
It's probably because the season's done. That's probably why.
Maybe, yeah, that's a good point.
There's no reason to play it right now. Really, it's pretty weak right now. Overwatch.
That's fair.
Well, there's no reason to play competitive.
That's a good piece of news to discuss. Overwatch is still big. I know Shu, you're into it. Omar's really been into it when the rank comes out. So season 1 is over. Just like League, depending on how far you got certain rewards, and Omar, you can brag about your little golden gun, and tell us a little bit about what's new in season 2 besides the map that we talked about last week.
All right. I played. You get season rewards kind of like you do in League, where the highest rating you've achieved, you get a certain number of CP. I like the word CP, but it's competitive points. I think if you
Wow.
had over 65, you get 300 CP, which gives you enough to buy a golden gun. I had 67 peak CP, so I got a free golden gun for that. And basically, they're making a lot of changes for next season based on basically they said that the whole 1 to 100 thing was kind of it didn't allow players to feel like they progressed. So they
Wasn't
basically
visceral.
it wasn't. There you go, Shu. It wasn't visceral. And I actually predicted this since the day ranked came out. I said, why would they do 1 to 100? There's no sense of progression there, and I was correct because now that they're going to make it, I think 1,000 to 5,000. So now the range is much bigger. So you won't be gaining like 1/10 of a level or like 7% of a level. No, you'll always gain some actual units of the numbers. Whole numbers, and it's just going to be. And it's also going to be broken down to silver, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and masters. So they're going to have like the numbers will actually mean something. Before you could say I think what the designer said in the Overwatch video, he specifically said, if you tell somebody like I'm a 60 player, that has like no context, right? And it doesn't even sound that good. Like I got 60 on a
Sounds
test.
bad, yeah.
Yeah, I failed the test. I got a 60. But he's like, if you get 60, you're top 10%. You're like a really good Overwatch player if you get 60. But it wasn't like
Sorry about that.
transmitted pretty well. So that's the reason behind those changes. They made some balance changes and stuff too. Genji got nerfed, thankfully. F that guy. And they had a new map. And they're doing a bunch of other subtle changes as well. They wanted to prevent people from queuing up with high-level players and all that jazz.
Did you guys see the new short to have, the Bastion?
The last Bastion, that was so good.
That was really good.
It was so cute.
I don't want to
I
play it
still
here
haven't
because,
watched any of them.
yeah, I don't want to play it here because you guys aren't going to see like the audio or anything. You got to just watch it on your own. Overwatch has like these little cute intros for all the characters. It kind of reminds. It's like a more serious version of what Steam did or Valve did with the TF2 characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're all pretty nice. I mean, the Soldier one sucked. I know Soldier's my brother's favorite hero. The Soldier one I thought wasn't really impactful, but all the other ones I felt were pretty well done.
All right. I think we should take this to the interesting league discussion too, because we just mentioned competitive stuff.
All right, let's do it. And Link.
All right.
I'm going to drop out for a while.
I mean, it's just really drama. It's not specifically to the game, so I think we can all throw some good discussion.
Did you want to talk about the season 2 changes later for Overwatch, or
We did.
done?
Oh, you can sure.
No, I mean like the actual changes.
Oh, go ahead.
They
Sure,
nerfed-
if you have some info.
Oh, well, they're going to be addressing a lot of issues that people had in the first season, especially with tanks getting completely destroyed by Zenyatta. So it's gonna be Zenyatta nerfs, Genji nerfs, and then a couple characters getting buffed to Mei and Mercy. So that's pretty much what a lot of people asked for. So I guess they do listen over at Blizzard.
Sometimes they listen.
Sometimes.
And even the 60 tick rate thing was fixed, so no one can bitch about that now. The tick rate
Dude,
issue,
that was
they
the
raised it.
biggest. That was the biggest cop out in the game. It was like, oh, I fucking got wrecked.
It must have been because of 20
No.
tick rate. That's why I
20
died.
No, hold up.
It was like the best.
Hold up. I never complained about it because everyone has it, right? The tick thing.
Yeah.
So I never complained like unfair, but it did feel unresponsive to me.
Yes,
Overwatch.
sometimes.
When I first started playing, I was like, "What's?" And here's what I did, and I never do this. Because I have a good computer. I minimized and I turned everything off, like I had running. Like I turned Flux off. I never turned Flux off, but I turned Flux off for Overwatch because I thought something was lagging me, and then I read later that it was just, the game was just lagging.
Great.
And I'm really glad that's fixed. That makes it a lot easier. It just feels nicer. So that's nice.
Yeah.
I care more about that than any balance fixes or maps or whatever.
Well, buff soldier. That's what we need.
All
right, but let's take it to the league because it's pretty interesting. Shoes actually linked me this. I didn't hear about this drama until Shu linked it to me, and it's Shu. You wanna take it? You said you read quite a bit about it too, or I can just lay down the framework.
You can lay down the framework. I can comment.
Okay. The framework essentially is that Reginald, one of the owner of Team Solomid, apparently people were talking about the issues surrounding the financial health of players, and Tryndamere actually commented on a almost unrelated post on Reddit about League of Legends where he kind of just chimed in, and he's again the co-founder of Riot Games. It's the most successful, it's the most highest revenue generating PC game in the world, and he jumps in basically saying that if Reggie is so concerned about financial health of his players, maybe he should spend some of the millions he has made and that he continues to make from League of Legends on paying them instead of investing in other esports where he's losing money. So he's basically kind of singling out Reginald, who has been very successful in his running TSM. I mean, TSM is one of the most world-renowned almost in esports. Like, he's a very recognizable name in esports because of Reginald pushing it and the team being awesome. They have a lot of fans. So it's kind of weird that we see a guy like Tryndamere who is, in terms of like status, Tryndamere is he's a he's $100+ millionaire, probably more at this point, because he's got the very successful company, and he's signaling out one team owner, for apparently shortchanging his players or taking care of his players some more, and it almost feels like it comes out of left field. So this kind of almost brings up a discussion of like, how should teams handle this issue of financial stability for players as well? Because I think that is actually a pretty big issue too, because there's a huge power dynamic between players and owners, and in many cases the players are actually they have so little power compared to the owners, and that's the premise of the issue. What do you guys think?
My take. I'm gonna approach it from a purely like esports perspective rather than the fine tuning of League, because I don't really play League much. I think League was ahead of Dota in terms of organizing esports, right? So they had the LCS, and then Dota copied that with their whole quarterly thing. And I think this was the wrong place for Tryndamere to make this comment. He should have worded it as like an official Riot blog post, not targeting specifically
any one person.
Yeah. What they should have done is this, and I think it's in the future of esports for League and Dota and whatever. You're gonna have regional teams like the San Francisco Strikers or whatever, right? And then it's gonna be more like a franchise and consistent teams, because right now it's too loose, and it's Tryndamere and Riot are investing all this money into esports, right? And I think too much of it, they feel, is going to unloyal people like TSM, because TSM has no loyalty to Riot. They can make websites, they can make teams for other games, so it's just a matter of control. And I think Riot is realizing that it's better to have full control rather than just rely on this loose agreements with owners like Reginald.
All right. Well, of course, like, I'm a little bit biased because I like Riot, so I don't really want to like go too hard on the issue. But from what I read, a lot of people are saying that the statement was unfair, mostly because this is again just what I read. The players and the teams don't actually make that much off of the LCS. It's vastly exaggerated in the post. This is according to casters that cast competitive esports. And one of the issues that came up, I don't exactly remember when it was, but it's in recent history, is that Riot was do you remember this one? They were criticized for underpaying casters.
Okay.
Do you remember that, or
no?
Okay, so the gist of it is that they were criticized for underpaying casters, like compared to like CS:GO, for example, and Dota, and so they're saying like, wait, like you guys are underpaying casters, you're not willing to up your payment on them, and yet you're criticizing other people for shortchanging players, when like, if you really like, how can you make statements like that when you're guilty of that or worse, pretty much? So that's like the big controversy around Riot. Like, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, it was just Tryndamere, right? I mean, he is the face of the company, but people.
This is his opinion.
It's his opinion, but I mean, all in all, like, he probably shouldn't have said that, just because it's gonna reflect on the company and it's gonna cause all this drama. But yeah, I mean,
It wasn't
that's why it wasn't the right like channel for it.
I agree with that.
Especially if it's just the internet and Reddit. It's like, no matter what you say, it's like it's gonna be spun like poorly. It's like, just.
It's worth mentioning he was downvoted up to hell. There's over 1,000 downvotes on that. It doesn't reflect in the screenshot, but it's been edited since, because clearly he already had regrets for what he posted and he removed some bits of it. This is the original one. He edited it quite a bit since.
And it's like you guys have been mentioning too, is another thing you could criticize them on is like, if you really care so much about the players making so much money, why don't you like subsidize some stuff, like make some skins, like you guys were saying, like you can raise so much money through making skins that give cuts to like players, and teams that like.
But here's the issue: they want, before they do stuff like that, I think they want more control over the teams directly before they start making skins for them. Because a TSM skin today helps TSM the organization, let's say, right? And TSM the organization is not bound to Riot or the league. It can, they have sites. They have
It
their
could be
own
like
websites. They might have teams for other esports.
They do have teams for other esports. Yeah.
So Riot doesn't want to subsidize that.
like a misrepresentation of like
not just money going there. If Riot makes like a skin for TSM, right, and like a percent of it goes to TSM and TSM players, they are literally subsidizing their competition because TSM has other ventures for in other sports, other games. I mean, and other like just like guide sites or whatever they have going. TSM would be subsidized by Riot if they had made a skin.
That's true.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean that is a valid argument as well.
Matt, what did you want to say?
I was just gonna say I don't know what like they're considering a low salary or like shortchanging their players, but I guess one of the things to remember is that it's not like an average sport. I mean, there's a company that has to constantly develop and change this game. It's not like something like football. And I mean, esports is new. They don't have like, different games where the managing entity is constantly just like licensing out different players, you know what I mean? And the players get part of that because their likeness is being licensed out. They don't have things like, we're just barely seeing esports on TV, we don't have anything from that. We don't have a managing entity that presides over each specific sport, so to speak. We have like ESL and stuff, but they do multiple ones, and there's not really a league that's just for each one. You know what I mean?
That's what Riot's been trying to do though with LCS. Like they control the entire like production, they control the teams, who participates. So Riot has been moving towards more control over the esports scene in their game.
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because like the modern way that sports work. I mean, you've got like the NFL that presides over football, and they just, because of that, there's a better environment, I think, than there would be if somebody else had control over it.
And if I didn't make my opinion or my prediction clear earlier, I think this is if they're not happy with TSM, which is like their poster child of like a league team, right? Because it started as like a league team, right?
Yeah.
If Riot's not happy with that, which it seems they're not, I think the next step, and my prediction is, Riot is gonna make X number of teams for each region, like America, let's say 12 teams. They're gonna own the teams. They're gonna say these are only league teams. You're only allowed to be league teams with these. And then they're either gonna partner with companies or sell franchise licenses, and only those teams will play in the LCS. And they're gonna be region specific.
And I think that salaries that they're concerned about are going to do much better in an environment like that. And who knows, maybe comments like this could be sowing the seeds for like support of something like that. Maybe this is a calculated move in like the vaguest, smallest sense. Just the first time they're pushing like a negative vibe onto someone else to sow the seeds, lay the groundwork for an environment where people are more open to it. Maybe that's what they're doing.
Yep, I agree with that. I think
so. I'll say it's to become more like professional, like basketball or NBA, MLB, where there's a certain number of teams. The team that plays like the Heat doesn't play baseball. They play only basketball. So they want to keep it like that. Clearly, you can tell from the Tryndamere's post. He doesn't want TSM, which makes all his money off League, investing in other games. He wants to keep the money in League because the League is his company. It's his baby. That's his point of view.
It seems like he is more concerned with the fact that Reggie is investing money in other esports than the fact that he's shortchanging his players.
And not just that. Imagine TSM selling peripherals like keyboards, right, with their logo. That's more money and more things not under Riot's control now. Imagine instead Riot makes 12 teams, 12 like logos or whatever, sells them to like owners, and then they all make different keyboards with each logo, and they split the cut.
Riot gets a cut.
Yeah, Riot gets a cut because this is all based on the League. TSM is based on League, so they want to exert more control over that, which I don't blame them, and we'll see how it evolves going forward.
And of course, there's no drama without the other side. And of course, Reginald about 3 hours ago, he had a massive response to this, basically saying that he helped pioneer the esports community within the league even before LCS even took off. TSM was one of the first. They sponsored their own tournaments, so they actually helped. They're saying they helped grow the scene as well. and that he's talking about, he's addressing specific issues, saying that he was being too greedy. He's saying that player salaries have been stagnant since LCS started, and that since LCS started, player demands have increased exponentially. So they're doing more now for less pay. And they're saying the LCS stipends, which they get paid, don't even come close to covering the cost of running the business. And if you look at TSM, like, they're making a lot of money from their website, their own brand sponsorships. I don't think what Riot pays them directly for their player salaries comes close to all their expenses. But again, we won't know that specifically. But there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than just what Riot pays them, though. He made specific issues saying that Riot's been pretty heavily preventing teams from getting sponsored in certain ways. So sponsors can't film during LCS. They have restrictions on what kind of videos they can put up with their sponsors. So they're preventing them from monetizing in other ways too to help their players. So they're saying it's a much more complex issue than what Tryndamere is laying out to be. And I like this full response in the chat if anyone's interested. But there's some drama going on, some internet drama. Still think it's kind of silly for Tryndamere to post on Reddit over this issue and call out one team owner rather, not one player.
I do want to read this, but not now.
Yeah, not now.
So let's quickly move on now to Here's something that I found interesting. So we use Discord here at MMOs.com, and there's a link below if you guys want to join us. But there is another service similar to Discord, and it's called Curse. Curse was known for a bunch of community websites, add-on plugin websites, but they also have
Gamepedia.
Gamepedia, and they also have a Discord-like chat app, and they were recently bought out by Twitch. So Twitch bought Curse. They bought everything Curse related, not just their little communication platform.
That homepage looks exactly like Discord.
Yeah,
that interface looks exactly like Discord. If you see on the right side, holy crap!
Yeah, right.
When did that happen? Has it always been like this?
No, it must have been new. This must be new.
Yeah, but
I wonder if that's gonna.
Shit.
I wonder if it's gonna affect my earnings because I get paid from Curse.
Really? Well, that's pretty cool.
Aww.
And here's the thing. The only reason I think Twitch bought Curse is not for Gamepedia or their little add-on plugin managers. They bought Curse just for this platform, this communication platform, because they see Discord as a huge threat to them. And I was reading about it, and apparently
why is Discord a threat to Twitch?
I'll explain it. So the Twitch chat sucks, right? There's very little. You're either an admin or you're either a mod or a regular user, right? So what a lot of big streamers were doing is they were using their own Discord chat and they're embedding it into the video, right, into their stream, because there you can have different tiers, different ranks, different channels, different chat channels.
Infinite emotes.
Easy to talk, jump in, infinite emotes. And the community was being managed for the top streamers in Discord rather than on Twitch itself. Mm-hmm. And they saw that as a big threat because more time is spent, when the streamer's not streaming, right? So imagine there's a fan page for one of the big streamers, fan Discord. They can all go in there and talk rather than on the Twitch page or anything. Mm-hmm. So they want to integrate the whole thing. So they want a community even when people are not streaming, and they want to keep it internal.
Wait, but how is that a threat? Because the streams still have just as much viewership.
Yeah, but if they're using Discord as the primary means of communicating with the streamer,
but they still have to go through Twitch.
Well, they're streaming on Twitch, yes, but they're the audience that's actively communicating. What makes Twitch an exciting platform for advertisers too is how engaged the viewers are. And if that engagement in terms of communication moves away from Twitch, it hurts them.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's threatening the existence of Twitch. It threatens the community.
I'm just confused. You know what I mean? Because they still have to be on Twitch watching it. You know what I mean?
No, but see, Twitch doesn't want to become just a bandwidth provider for Discord. Because imagine you.
But they're not becoming a bandwidth provider for Discord. People are streaming on it.
Well, exactly. So you're streaming on Twitch, right? But everything, all the talking you do, all the chatting you do, all the chatting your viewers do, all the
interaction
all the your viewers have is through Discord chat, which you then embed into your OBS, right? So that you're streaming Discord, and you're not, and the regular chat is disabled. Let's say Twitch chat's disabled.
I guess I just don't see the issue.
Well, I'm sure that Twitch makes money off of having chat icons, for example, right? Because I'm sure they get a cut.
But why use Twitch icons when you can just use Discord and just make?
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm sure that's not
I'm agreeing with you.
I'm sure that's not worth buying Curse out over.
No, I think the more we look at this and the fact that I see the Curse homepage, I'm willing to wager that's the only reason they bought Curse.
Yeah.
To compete.
But I guess it's less that it's a threat and more that they have bigger ambitions than just replacing Discord.
Exactly. They don't want to just be a bandwidth provider for video streaming. They want to be a community. Twitch wants to be a community for gamers.
I can safely say all the other Curse properties, including Gamepedia, all that stuff doesn't fit at all into Twitch's vision or ambition. Mm-hmm. They bought this almost strictly for this platform of the voice chat, the VoIP provider. Yeah, I can't imagine Twitch cares about Gamepedia at all or any of the other platforms Curse runs.
It's kind of funny though that they would want to replace their chat with something that's more Discord-like or with a platform like that, because if you think about it, they have no comment service. They have no way to like leave little notes on like streamers' pages. They don't have any of that. There's not really a community there. It literally is just a video service at this point, other than that chat.
I think they want to expand on that.
They have a lot more to do than just fix the Discord problem, though. That's just kind of...
I see the threat. The communication is moving away from their chat box to a competitor, Discord. And not direct, just the communication moving away from their platform to somewhere else. They want to control the entire platform. They want to control the whole entire vertical integration from the streaming to the chat to the community. And if they surrender any one of those pillars, they're going to hold on to the streaming part because Twitch is Twitch. But if they give up the chat element, it's only a minus for them. And they're backed by Amazon. Amazon's a $250 billion, $300 billion company. They can toss their weight around.
Exactly. Whatever they pay for Curse, it makes no difference to Amazon's bottom line. And here's a big question I have. I have personally not used this Discord, this Curse client. I'm pretty happy with Discord, but just for the sake of curiosity, after this podcast, I will download it and just see what it looks. I'm kind of expecting the same thing as Discord, but I guess it's good to know what it looks like and just try it out.
Do you guys think that Discord is in trouble?
I don't think so. I don't see like channels or anything, unless they're just under the messages part. But like,
well, again, I got to play with it. Yeah, I think we should all just take like 2 minutes to play with it just to see what it looks like.
Yeah, afterwards. And Twitch chat is pretty cancerous. You can control the discussion more, and we can reward people that loyal players like more like better time on your own platform, but like Discord, you can give them like chat rights and stuff more easily. And different user permissions easily through Discord.
Yeah, and
think of it this way, through Curse.
I mentioned it earlier, but I think it's a big deal. On Twitch chat, you only have 2 types of users, right? You have regular and mods. Mm-hmm. Well, on Discord and presumably on Curse, you can fine tune permissions, to any degree you want. So that's
oh my god, this looks like exactly like Discord. Scroll through the Curse page. Oh my god, like every piece of interface I'm seeing, like in the. They totally like copied that design. I guess it works,
the same.
Oh my god, it's such a. But again, you can't blame them. Yeah. They want to do this. Mm-hmm. But the amount they paid was undisclosed, so no idea how much they paid.
It had to be a lot. They have a huge network.
Yeah, I mean we're talking obviously in the tens of millions, 20 million, maybe more, right? But
their network is massive.
Yeah.
Does they have video chat?
Probably.
I mean, they have all those things at the bottom. Do they have video chat?
I mean, you're right. Let me scroll down to where they're comparing it to like Skype. Mm-hmm. They're comparing it to Discord too. Actually, that's interesting. So they claim to. Okay.
I'm just curious,
Yeah.
Group calls, server calls.
But I think if Twitch is pushing Curse, eventually they integrate it, they push it more. I think Discord can be in trouble because I think Discord's been awesome, but because they've had no real competition. And now the competition is a knockoff, right? But it's a knockoff that's backed by Amazon. And I have to revise what I said earlier. It's actually Amazon, a $360 billion company, not like a $200 billion. My bad, $360 billion company. So now you have a juggernaut, literally competing direct with Discord now. So because of that, I mean, they have huge financial power, huge financial muscle.
I will say this is great for gamers. You know why? Now the race is on between Curse and Twitch and Discord to give us video calling, right? Because whoever gets that first and does it well will have a big edge over the other.
Better than Skype, please, for the love of the gods.
And exactly. And then for us gamers, we can finally stop using Skype once they add video chat.
I hate Skype.
Why does Discord's Windows thing have a half circle?
Apparently, Discord only works with Windows 7 and later, while the Curse client works with all versions of Windows, so XP, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, let's take this to the Shroud of the Avatar bit, because I think Matt wanted to say something, and I thought it was pretty interesting too.
All right, link me up.
I looked at you.
Okay, so Shroud of the Avatar, I just want to go over this briefly. They hit 10 million. Like, That's insane.
Crowdfunding.
For a game that has so much criticism on like Reddit and Steam and everywhere. It's being criticized like crazy. But they hit 10 million and they raised 200,000 during a day-long telethon, during which you only had to spend $5 to get all of the advantages of the telethon as a player. You know, because you spend $5, and as they hit different stretch goals, you get different items. And I mean, the people that only spent $5 just got more swag than the people that are paying $100 for stuff on the cash shop got. So, I mean, you tell me.
But everyone got that though, right?
Yeah, but it's still insane, you know, like that much stuff. And I don't know. It's just absurd to me that this game has gotten so much money. I don't know why. It's absurd.
I think it's absurd too. Yeah.
I'm sitting here like, who does telethons? Please answer me this.
Okay.
Who does telethons?
To me,
Who sells their blood for money?
No, listen, to me, this telethon looks like something like they're raising money for charity. But no, they're raising money for a for-profit game run by a hugely successful and wealthy developer. Like.
Yes, Richard Gariott.
They're basically begging for money from like poor gamers when when Richard Gariott has all this money and this game has been in development for years now. They're selling $10,000 plots of land. It seems gimmicky. This whole telethon.
They're making $200,000 in a day from this shit, and I'm sitting here wondering how much our local hospital makes during its telethon when it comes on the radio once a year. It's like
insane.
Come on.
Exactly.
Now to further paint the point of absurdity for this event. Richard Gariott actually, in 2008, he's the guy behind Shroud the Avatar. He actually ended up selling his blood for more money in the last fundraising round. In 2008, during the peak of the recession, he spent $30 million of his own money for a private tour of the International Space Station. He paid to go to space to see the International Space Station, and he dropped $30 million on this. And this guy's begging us for $200K? It's insulting. They make it write a check for $50 million tomorrow, and everything is funded. Why is he asking gamers for money?
And it might have better graphics then.
Shots fired! But it's
But also, you see that bald guy that was on the right a second ago? That guy also sold his blood. Look at the face of the guy that sold his blood. The face of crazy.
I paused the video doing like the spinning wheel. So they're really pulling all those like little gimmicks from like those bake sales or like local like charity fundraisers.
From the Goodwill places.
Yeah. Like what is this? Like, and the guy earlier was like, I think they were doing shots when they got money donated. Like,
I mean, this is seriously insulting almost. Like,
it's cringy. It's cringy. I don't know about. I'm not really insulted because I don't really care.
I'm insulted. I'm
insulted. They're taking stuff from like regular charity places. Like these are literally straight out of like a charity telethon, but they're putting the money towards themselves. It's not even like they're saying, okay, like 5%, you know, just something.
Throw something at charity. Yes, at least.
It's just like, this is all to themselves. Like, what the hell? How can they sit there with a straight face?
The founder is super wealthy. That's what drives me nuts. If they're like an indie studio, he wants to follow his dream and really raise money for this game. Okay, like the guy's rich. He spent $30 million going to space.
That part doesn't really bother me.
He's begging me for $200K.
No, I think they're racing Star Citizen to be more cringy. At least Star Citizen is just promising you in-game stuff, right? These guys are kind of making it like look like they're dying from cancer and they need your money. Like.
Hey, you don't know they're dying from blood loss from selling all their blood.
Okay, if he sold that much blood, right? You should donate some of that blood to charity on the side too. But this is it just frustrates me that this crowdfunding thing has taken such a weird turn where rich guys are refusing to fund their own game that they got to ask and beg their gamers for money when they can spend $30 million on space.
It's like they took this straight out of the 90s, except instead of having to rent out space on TV and actually spend money on something, they're getting this like free streaming area to do this. You know, it's like, what the hell? Come on. It's literally free money.
Yeah. Well, in terms of other crowdfunded games, we have quite a bit of news about Star Citizen this week. Shu, your favorite game?
This is my favorite game. It provides the best drama. It's like a fine wine, you know.
It never stops giving drama. You know?
Well, this time there's no drama.
There's no drama this time.
Yeah.
This time they pulled something off and they're showing off their game.
Instead of
Oh,
promising
man.
you a virtual spaceship that's just a JPEG right now, they're actually showing you the goods.
Yeah, they're actually showing the goods, which is nice. And there's a 52-minute video in there. Obviously, we're not going to show all of it.
It's actually an hour and 37 minutes if you have the whole presentation.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I heard from someone that the content in this that they showed, like the planets and stuff, was actually more impressive than No Man's Sky.
Oh yeah, it looked really awesome.
No, it looks great. And like I was talking to Omer on Skype earlier, and I gotta say, like the interfaces for the ships, like if you see it in the corner there, the nice blue on it looks so much nicer than Elite Dangerous. Like, I mean, Elite Dangerous looks nice and all, but when you stare at orange for that long, like this bright blazing orange, it starts to like wear on you. And like, look how nice and clean this looks. It's not like I said, like the orange in Elite Dangerous, it's everywhere because like the entire cockpit is basically like this digital hologram thing. But with this, it's like more reserved and it's a nice blue and it looks all nice. Yes, and I've told you guys I hate the orange. I've told you.
I was just typing in chat that our overlay is orange. Don't tell Matt. Shh.
I told you I hate it. I've told you to change it so many times. Don't even go there.
Right. I've watched at least 50 minutes of this video earlier, and it is quite impressive. They've shown off that they've made like this world, this engine, and it looks beautiful. The attention to detail is impeccable. I mean, they show off like a lot of specific things where they'll actually go down to the planet, and you can see them landing on the planet. One guy gets off the ship. You can see the other guy lift off. And they can wave to them, and even when he's on like a planet, the guy's inside the building. He can go inside the building, and they'll be like in the window. Like the level of interaction is great. They put a lot of detail into it. It has a very massive sense to it. And they even show you getting a quest. They show you it's very well scripted, the dialogue. It's got professional voice actors. It looks great. And you have a quest to basically find a ship that was like destroyed and get the black box. So the video basically just shows off all that gameplay and it looks gorgeous. But what's
I do have to say,
go ahead.
I do have to say about the quest giving thing before we go on too far.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the way it looks because you know in games like what is it, Heavy Rain, when you have to make like a choice between one or two, and they're shaking around and it looks all
exact same text. Yeah,
it's shaking around and it seems like this intense thing, but it's just an accept or decline.
But the issue, like they went to the planet and the planet was kind of empty. But the issue, they showed off that they've made an excellent like world. They've made an excellent system. They have like the tools in place now. But now they have to make it. They have to actually make a game now. They have the world. They got the tools. Now the hard part begins. I mean, they have to put all the quests. They have to create all these systems that interact well with each other. They've made something gorgeous. They've gone so far from just conception to having something, but there's still so much left to do, it seems. I'm curious when this is actually going to fully come out, because if the game releases and it looks this gorgeous with this style of gameplay, I will be super, super impressed. But again, it seems like they did show off that one quest they designed, but there's got to be a million quests. There's got to be crafting. There's got to be interaction with players. There's so much more that has to happen before this all comes together. But they've done a lot. So awesome job with the game.
Are you afraid of your
warm? No, here's the thing.
Light lime.
As I said, now the hard part begins. They raised like over 100 million. They came this far. They spent a lot of money. Now the hard part begins. They've developed an incredible world and engine, but they got to fill it with content. They have to fill it with meaning now.
So they grind. They gotta grind it out.
This is where the hard part actually begins. They made all the technology. They made all the stuff work. They got to fill this world up now, and it's going to be so hard because did you see the skill that planet he landed on? How will every planet in the system be meaningful? It's going to be all empty. And this is not a sandbox crafting game. At least with No Man's Sky, you could like technically just dig around on the planets. Like, the planets need to have meaning. The world has to have meaning, and that's where the hard part begins, I think.
It's going to be really interesting because it's like we said, like we would love to play this game if it actually works. We're not like
I would.
We're not gonna be mad if the game comes out. Like we want it to come out, but we're just skeptical, Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll tell you. I know you last week. I want you to talk a little about the hype around games and what the hype allows to happen. I feel like this is a good time to chime it into because I thought you had some good insight earlier.
Okay, so regarding hype being like the purpose or whatever, well, I mean, I've talked about this before, and it also applies to Shroud Avatar and a lot of these other crowdfunding games. Is in a lot of ways, these games we've already experienced them. At least the true believers have. It's kind of like 2012. You know, people who were waiting for the world to die or the world to end, they bonded over like a shared, illusion, right? So the people who've been funding and supporting and following and posting about Star Citizen for all these years now, I'm sure they've had a lot of fun because they've made friends on forums. They've followed the news. There was like a convention for Star Citizen, right? So think about that. Like a game that's not even out yet. There was a convention. So people went. They were hyped. They probably dressed up as like the non-existent characters. And I don't mean non-existent like virtual. I mean like literally non-existent. Like they don't even exist in the game yet. Like there's no game. So
people created guilds. People created like corps, right? They've created alliances. There's already drama going on in terms of people hating each other, and nothing is like like the game isn't even out yet.
It's the ultimate role play.
All right, so I'm back. It looks like. So I just wanted to say that they're finally starting to show what they've been spending all the money on.
Yes.
I mean,
exactly.
it's so much detail, and it's not just like detail like they put a toilet in the ship like they've done before. It's like, oh yeah, toilets are important for role playing. And I'm just sitting there like, whatever, or like environment or atmosphere or something like that. But it didn't matter. I didn't care. But yeah, I finally see what they've been spending the money on, and if it's like this the entire way through, then maybe it'll be neat. But I mean, I'm of the opinion that if they actually make this exactly like this demo all the way through, it'll just become monotonous by the end of it. Like it's the same process for everything. There's no way they can make every single mission feel different. There's just no way.
Well, they have to fill it with content now, like make different missions, exciting missions, different interaction systems. Like this shows off like
scripted.
How great like one mission can be, and I think they did a good job doing that. Again, the hard part begins of actually filling up the game with meaningful content, exciting, fun content.
You know what I realized? This week has a lot of drama. Like, I got another story if you guys are ready to move up to Star Citizen.
Yeah, I'm always down for drama, but this is not really drama. This was
the drama llama.
Okay, so Zenimax, which owns ID, I guess, software.
Oh, this one.
So they are suing Oculus, and they've been suing Oculus, but they stepped it up now. And I think they stepped it up because Facebook owns Oculus now, and Facebook's got a lot of money. And if you read the story, it's really interesting because Zenimax is taking real shots at Oculus. They're basically saying the story of like that Palmer Lucky guy inventing VR in his basement is it's a load of shit.
It cut out.
I cut out?
No, you're good.
Okay, yeah.
No, oh sorry, I forgot to mute it.
Oh, so I was saying, so they're basically Zenimax is saying this whole story about Oculus inventing anything is just a bunch of nonsense. And what really happened is Carmack, who's like the head technology guy now at Oculus, he basically stole all this VR technology from id and Zenimax, and then they went off and founded Oculus. So they're suing for probably going to be globs of money, and it's probably going to take years for this to settle or go through the court system. But it's a pretty interesting story, and it's pretty interesting how directly insulting Zenimax was to the people at Oculus. That's what I found interesting.
They were specific. They gave examples of exactly what happened. They said like the day before, Carmike left, they copied thousands of files to his USB, and they're being very specific with their claims on how it all went down, which is what was really interesting for me.
Oh, wait, let me go find that quote because I know Sean would be. He said it was gold earlier, so I know he'd be here wanting to quote this. So basically, okay, so right here, I think this is it. Oculus. The quote is exactly okay. So from the lawsuit, Zenimax is alleging that Oculus, at Brendan Uribe's discretion, the CEO of Oculus, disseminated to the press the false and fanciful story that Lucky was the brilliant inventor of VR technology who had developed that technology in his parents' garage. In fact, that story was utterly and completely false. Lucky lacked the training, expertise, resources, or know-how to create commercially viable VR technology. His computer programming skills were rudimentary, and he relied on ZeniMax's computer program code and games to demonstrate the prototype Rift. Nevertheless, this fraudulent tale was frequently reported in the media as fact. Lucky increasingly and falsely held himself out to the media and the public as the visionary developer of the Rift's VR technology, which had actually been developed by ZeniMax without any substantial contribution from Lucky. That is the exact quote.
Boom.
Boom. Then be fighting words. And obviously this is one side of the story. This is them laying down exactly what they say has happened. People typically jump to conclusions. I'm not ready to say that's how it folded until we hear from the other side as well. So we'll see how this develops.
It's just it's interesting because basically what they said happened was, okay, so Zenimax was working on it, right? And then Carmack came on and worked on it and like took over the team, so to speak, like in a leadership role working on VR. And then at some point he started coordinating with Palmer Luckey, and Palmer Luckey had like a prototype which was basically just like a screen that attached to your face and it had a wide view. And then Carmack thought that was going to be helpful for developing VR. So he took a copy of it basically and started working on it in at Zenimax, and as they put it in the lawsuit, literally transformed Palmer Luckey's little thing into what we know VR to be like now, something more like that. Then, I just won't tell the whole thing. Go read the lawsuit. You know?
Yeah, it's exciting, but I mean, it's worth mentioning too that VR was not really invented with Oculus either. This is old technology. If you look at there was a documentary on virtual reality, and it shows like NASA, one of the NASA space centers, where they had like 40 years ago, like VR technology, but with the giant CRT screens like on your face, and you still had the basic premise of it. It just the technology was shit, but they had it working. You know, you could look around and like, everyone was mind blown. You know, so they had the basics down forever ago. It's finally becoming commercially viable slowly.
They also had like arcade machines that had VR in the 90s, and there was a 90s VR headset, like an actual headset, you know? And I mean, this isn't really a wholly new thing, and that's why it's kind of funny.
I played that, it was shit.
What about the Nintendo
I actually played it. The Virtual Boy?
Virtual Boy. That's like
no, not that. There was
no,
an
no.
headset for PC.
What Matt's talking about is are you talking about the one that they had in the arcades where it was like a actual thing that you had to step into and it cost like a lot of money to like try it?
No, they had headsets for virtual reality headsets in the 90s.
Oh, for PC?
For PC and in arcades.
Oh yeah, I remember that like they had an arcade one where like you were standing up in like the circular platform, right? And then
let me go find it. Okay, so here's.
All right.
I'll probably be a little bit with this.
I'm gonna eject this discussion to Tibia then. All right, this is back to MMORPGs.
I've been on a Tibia obsession in the past few weeks. But
I think everyone has once we learned about that 999 door. That was badass. That door became like MMO legend. Like that was hype. And the fact that we still know what's behind it, but just he does, is still pretty.
Let's hear this week's story.
I think it's actually pretty interesting because for the first time in like the game's 19 years of existence, they've introduced, get this guys, XP boost into the cash shop.
Wow.
You know that kind of says to me? It says to me they were waiting for someone to get to 999 and see what was in the door before they released it. I mean, everybody's like, isn't this an insult to that guy? But what I'm seeing is a company that didn't want to ruin such a secret by having this in the cash shop.
Yeah, they're dedicated. They waited.
Yeah, they did wait. And I mean, I don't think they envisioned anyone getting to that door until like, that wasn't even like on the table until like 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
I got it. The guy who let the door, right? He said he's not telling anyone. So now the people behind Tibia realize, okay, we have an awesome way to make money. Other people want to see what's behind the door, right?
Ooh, you're
and
right.
The only way to do it is to buy 999 because you can't grind that much. It takes forever. So this is a great.
What do you guys think is there? What do you guys actually think is there?
Why don't we buy experience boost and find out?
There you go.
I think it's just a neat little like, just like something you go in and you see. You maybe pick up an item you can only find there, and you just leave. I don't think there's really anything of value behind it.
Oh, I don't
think it's that boring. Like,
no, there's more to it. They put some effort into it. I think you got some really cool item. You got a cool area. Only you will see. It's like I think it's an area at least, like a little zone.
You go there and you get 99 versions. Okay.
You go in there. There are lollies waiting to ERP with you. All right, that's what's behind the door, boys. Time to get on Tibia. Let's go.
Actually, reading the patch notes, they're not actually selling like levels. They're just selling
XP boost,
50%
bonus, right?
Yeah, and games have had this forever, so it's no big deal.
Yeah. But I mean, it's the fact that the game's been around for like 19 years and they've never added this until now is, because we've had XP boost forever. It's just Tibia has not added them until recently.
I thought they were selling straight up like levels.
No.
Right, that's fine.
And actually, side note too, ESO actually just introduced like lockboxes now too. So the whole lockbox thing is becoming a thing in like some Western games too.
You know what we should do for Sunday Funday one week? Maybe when Elder Scrolls is on like for sale or something.
Yeah.
We should all do that game because I've yet to play it.
Yeah, I've yet to play it either, but I feel it's definitely worth checking out.
You know
It's
the
a biggie.
the Overwatch lockboxes though they don't feel bad compared to other
Yeah.
lockboxes.
You still get those crowns. That's why you still get something.
Well,
Something
not
good.
only that, it's like there's like the big. It's like only $1 if you were to buy them. It's
Mhm.
like $1 or less, and then they make like the big explosion. You get 4 items. It's like no matter what, you get something, and if not, you get gold, which you can use to purchase other things. Whereas like if you open a fucking lockbox in like Counter Strike, you just feel like you got like
You got scammed. You got nothing. Either you get something really good or something
like
really
you got
shit.
like a huge
All right.
huge dick in your ass. It feels like every time you open.
Should you speak from experience?
Maybe
We'll leave
maybe.
that to the audience's imagination.
We'll leave that for you to decide.
All right, so on that note, I did find one of them. The Forte VFX one was a VR headset during the mid 1990s that had a helmet, a handheld controller, an ISA interface board, and it had head tracking, stereoscopic 3D, and stereo audio. It even had like the actual headset for hearing the game like
Yeah,
built into it.
That's so interesting. This has a built-in headset, whereas the Vive still doesn't.
And this was 1995, and it's cheaper than the Vive, and it comes with a controller.
Yeah, and
So yeah,
crazy.
they didn't invent shit. You know, they improved it. You know, VR technology was improved and like picked up, but it's not new technology. Not at all. All right.
And I think it's funny that it's seen such popularity considering that it's not new.
Yeah.
I guess it's just the right time.
well, we can have a discussion about that some of the time. I think it's still a couple years too early.
Yeah.
My brother and I disagree on
Well, I
that.
mean, it's the right time for the consumer. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
computers are big right now, whereas they were more like a core gamer thing to have like a computer and to have things like
In mid '90s, yeah,
headsets
it's
in
a much
the
better
mid-90s.
time than before.
That's what I meant.
Do we run another trailer now for?
We have to see this cool trailer. This was actually, I think this trailer started off like a little too ambitious at first, but I got more hype as I watched it.
Oh
This
my
is the
god!
latest Lost Ark trailer,
Oh, I saw
and of
it.
course,
Yeah, I
yeah,
saw this
we
one.
watched it together.
Yeah.
This is another one that I skimmed, and I
Start with
ended
50
up
seconds.
skimming. The first thing I clicked, right?
Mhm.
Or I lied. The second thing I clicked. The first thing I clicked was on the parapets of that castle. But anyways,
Mhm.
the second thing I clicked was the minecart, and I'm just sitting there like, oh god, it has a minecart. Like, what is this?
Are you still traumatized from Donkey Kong Country?
Yes. Still traumatized. I'm just like, okay, an MMO with a minecart. Like, what is this shit? But yeah, it looks pretty cinematic for a top-down game, or an isometric one, I guess. But I'm just sitting here looking at it like, is it gonna feel as great as it looks right now?
Yes, that's always the key thing because Lost Ark. I mean, trailers always look deceptively awesome. Let's be real. Like, how often you hype for a game? It doesn't even MMO even like just Metal Gear Solid. Everything. Trailers always look hella good. You know, you gotta get your hands on the game and play for like a nice 7-hour session before you decide. You know, that's what I need under my belt before I decide that this game is gonna be great. But people are already hype over this
I
trailer.
think this will be a nice, casual, fun game to play. Like, I think it's a great Sunday fun day game. I think Sean will like it for that reason. It looks a lot easier than Path of Exile. It looks like a Diablo. Basically, I think it's gonna be free to play Diablo 3. Like, that's my
But is it
No, it's gonna
no
be
more like Tree
so
of
much
Savior, if
different.
anything?
Tree of Savior.
Tree of Savior Tree of Savior
No, not
meets
Tree of
Diablo or
Savior.
Path of Exile.
It's not gonna be Diablo though, not even close. It's gonna
You
have
still
like
get
the
top-down
basic
view, though.
gameplay, but it's got all this other stuff. Like you've got the sailing, and you've got the different continents, and
Yeah, that's
I mean
true.
it's got like raids and PvP. Like
Well, Diablo 3
actual
was supposed
PvP.
to have PvP. Remember?
It's supposed to have trading too, but what happened?
it's an MMO. It's not just 4 people.
There you go. See? No, but I said Tree of Savior because it still has that MMORPG feel. Like, it's not going to be just. I mean, the way I understand it, it's not going to be just instant. It's going to have some persistent world.
Mhm.
So that's why I mentioned the mix of either Diablo 3 and Tree of Savior or Path of Exile and Tree of Savior. But the trailer looks
I
awesome.
feel like Tree of Savior was a wrong game to bring up. We could bring up like just. Or
No, because it's a top-down game. That's why. Very few. Of
More
this
like Mu.
looks like
more like Mu Online or one of the older action RPGs. Then.
sure, fine. Mu Online, but yeah, fine because Mu wasn't. You know, it wasn't just an ARPG. It was actually a MMORPG.
Mhm.
That's fine. But I don't think many people know Mu Online.
Bro,
It's an oldie.
bro,
It's
everyone,
an oldie.
Everyone knows Mu Online. Come on.
You know, fun fact: Webzen makes more money off Mu Online than like all the other games combined. All right, old games are paying the bills at Webzen.
I mean, a cow-based MMORPG does sound pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, Mu.
I know.
You know? Yeah.
Every time somebody says that, I'm like, secretly, this was supposed to be about cows.
But then somebody misspelled it as MU, so we stuck with it because it sounds more sophisticated that way.
Oh, all right. One more, not really controversy, but interesting take on something. Sure, you there?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so what do you think about this? This is your alley. Pokemon Go loses 10 million users. Why?
Yeah.
Why did that happen?
10 million daily active users.
Yeah.
That's
Wait, why? Because the game is unplayable. Like
it is playable. It's just it's got nothing. It's
got nothing. There you go. It's playable, but it's got nothing.
Wait. Okay. So I haven't played it recently. Are you telling me that they fixed the feed thing, or is it still there's no feed?
The feed are gone.
Okay, then, like I said, it's unplayable.
It's still in development, but
Shut
basically
up,
what
Matt.
they're going to do is make it so that you can like click on a creature or a Pokemon and see like what
Okay, look.
They're going to make it so that you can see what Pokestop it went by last, and you can go over to the Pokestop.
It doesn't change the fact that the game went from playable to unplayable.
That's a deal breaker for sure.
I almost wanted to. I wanted to refund my money. Like I spent like $200 on that game, and then it was like the game suddenly went from playable to unplayable. Like it'd be different if it was like that to begin with, but like a lot of the fun.
They removed the feature, which is kind of silly. They removed the functional, interesting feature of actually looking for something.
And yeah, exactly.
Well, they're going to make it so you still look for them, but it's just going to be different.
Okay. Look, it doesn't matter what you say, Matt, because it doesn't work right now, so it's unplayable.
Okay, right. I agree with the footsteps.
I don't think that Pokemon Go.
I don't think that's going to fix it, though. Like, even if they brought it back today, I mean, there's still a core amount of depth that's missing.
Yes, but they took away a feature that worked.
Okay, my problem with the game. There's no game.
There's no game. You're right. 100%. There's nothing. There's nothing there after you scratch the surface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read a good.
It's literally like a Skinner box right now.
Yeah,
I read a good comment online. I just want to read it out loud for you guys, and I agree with this. So there used to be, I don't know if you guys knew this, it was third-party sites with maps, right? GPS maps.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Of course.
The loss and subsequent banning of maps and map users made nearly everyone I know stop playing, especially in the total absence of an official replacement or a compelling reason to continue. Hearing my map ding was enough to make me leap out of my chair and run to the nearby park at midnight to catch something I wanted, because I guess you can set notifications.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that. I've done that. Me and my brother have both I'd be at my computer, and he'd come running up the stairs like there's like a Charmeleon like somewhere like 1 feet away, and I'm like, okay, we jump down, throw on my jacket, and we all run down the street, and it's happened.
That's awesome, yeah.
So many times, and just that like the thing that was really cool about Pokemon Go is it made like and I'm a recluse, like I'm as recluse as it gets, like I don't even want to leave like my room, right? But it kind of turned the world into a game, and it added a sense of like mystery and magic to it. Like, hell, like I gotta go to the DMV. That fucking sucks, but hey, there might be a cool Pokemon there.
Yeah, there's a Pokestop there too, actually.
You could find a Clef Key.
it adds. Hey, I like Clef Keys. Shut the fuck up.
Whoa.
I like fairy Pokemon. Okay, I love all fairy Pokemon. Anyway,
she's a fairy kind of gal.
I am. Anyway, so yeah, it added that whole thing to the game, and then just suddenly being like taking it out is like infuriating. That's what was fun about the game to me. Like, I don't find throwing an incense on and camping a Pokestop to be fun. I mean, do you find that to be fun?
Nope.
I don't think it's very fun. What was fun was discovering the Pokemons, and you can't do that anymore.
I think everyone got bored around level 20. Like that was like, that seems to be.
I mean, I didn't. I got bored because I couldn't play the game anymore.
What bothered me was...
Go
ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I was gonna say, like, I used to go like out to the beach at like 10 p.m. and I'd come back at like 8 a.m.
Wow.
You are hardcore. Yeah. I can respect that. All right.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's not even like lack of content.
Yes, I literally stopped at 20. So I think that's where most people hit that roadblock.
I stopped at I got to 20
I'm right there.
in like a few days of hardcore play, and I just literally have leveled up once since then. Sure, how far did you get anyway to the level wise?
25, I think.
But she got that like very early on. We got like 20, like literally a month after she got there, right? She hardcored it when it came out.
Yeah, I was literally playing like 12 plus hours per day, like just walking up and down the beach at night. But one thing that is interesting about Pokemon Go is it kind of made me realize how much I love Pokemon again. So I actually went back and revisited the other games, and I'm playing those now. So
That's good. Well, there's a new one
whatever.
coming out, so satiate you
Sun
in a
and
few
Moon.
months.
Sun and Moon. I already pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered
Mhm.
both.
Bam.
Both Sun and Moon. Why
The
choose?
first thing is they could have done so much more with Pokemon Go. Honestly, like to look at it objectively, like from what Pokemon Go is today, as Matt was saying too, there is no depth. They could have added. Like it just seems like
Yep.
they had a big budget, like over $30 million budget. They said, but and the thing is, they did copy some of the core like elements of Ingress, and they built on top of it with the Pokemon stuff. But why is there no depth? Where is that depth? Like, if you just look at this game, you know in like 5 hours of playing, like okay, now what? You know, like I just can't buy all these lures, and I just can't. I literally catch everything that comes by. The depth is not there. The combat has no like. It's missing so much. And in their defense, they did say the game is only 10% what they wanted it to be, which is what I'm just curious why it's taking them so long to add some more content to the game.
Well,
It's a game that's missing content, in my opinion. A lot of content.
seems to be the recurring theme here. Games missing content. Star Citizen, Shroud Avatar, Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
That's,
I mean,
that's the theme
again,
of the podcast this week.
things are missing content. But yep.
And actually, we are running up towards our usual cutoff. So if you guys have any final interesting shit of the week, we can cover it.
Give me a second to go through stuff. Let's see. I did want to. Okay, since we're talking about Pokemon, I did want to bring up Pokemon Rework. I'm gonna give you the link here.
Is that the unlicensed Pokemon game?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
Matt is a shill for unlicensed Pokemon games. Nintendo company, arrest this man. Send the Charmanders after him. All right, Mr. Mom's gonna
An
beat
I
you.
wanna
unlicensed mobile game. Interesting.
It looks great. It looks like they stole everything from Pokemon X and Y, except for like the environments. And I think it looks great. It's basically like League of Angels mixed with Pokemon, and it's oddly satisfying. You know what I mean? Like you see everybody running around, and you
Looks
go on
awesome,
these
yeah.
quests, and it has traditional Pokemon combat, like traditional Pokemon combat. You
Oh,
actually
video.
do the turn-based thing. It's not auto battling.
It looks awesome,
Catch
actually.
Pokemon,
It looks so good.
right?
Holy crap! Show the
Professor
video. I
Oak
think it looks
looks
really
so
good.
weird for some reason. Like his facial
Just
expression.
like skip to the middle or something.
I
see
see
the
the gameplay. Oh, it does look cool. I like. You can tell immediately it's like a Chinese mobile game or something because there's a million like little things on the screen.
Yup.
Like
Yes,
daily
that's
reward,
perfect.
hourly bonus, login bonus. Like
The only thing that bothers me is that Pokemon can not only be caught but taken from the gacha, and you have to have gems to evolve them. You can't just level them to evolve. You have to have gems, like some sort of currency that you use to evolve them. And like I said in the article, and like Socrates mentioned over there, I'm mad that there aren't more people that chose Bulbasaur. Like there's so many fucking Charmanders everywhere.
I saw
What is
so
this
many
shit?
Charmanders. But you know what I found funny about this video at least? How some knockoff Chinese company could make a more MMORPG game out of Pokemon than like Nintendo or like ex-Google people could do in all these years.
Right?
This actually looks like an MMO. Like I saw all those people standing around.
I mean, I don't know if they have like multiplayer battles or not, but I mean it's an MMO, and if they have Pokemon trading, damn, I'd be pretty happy. I just
There's no way it's gonna make it here though.
no, not a snowball's chance in hell. But maybe they'll translate it. I don't know. But it does have some of the pay-to-win stuff, like the top spenders for this month or something get a Mewtwo. But I mean,
If
you don't-
give it out.
if you just do PvE stuff in these games and you ignore like the PvP ladder, that's obviously just a
Pay to
like,
win
big
nonsense.
dick competition. Like I spent this much money on it. Then it's just you can enjoy these games. It's just most of them have been autoplay up until now, so there's not really been a reason to play them. You know what I mean? I think this could be pretty enjoyable if you just ignore the pay-to-win stuff and do your own thing. And it's got
Reminds me of all those Chinese games.
62 gyms. 62 gyms.
It looks cool. The combat looks cool. I just hope it's not brain dead easy because knowing these Chinese games, and I see like the first 10 hours gonna be brain dead easy. But let's see. I'm watching this Eevee fight. All right, at least they did take damage. At least looks pretty good. No, it looks pretty good. I kind of want to play this. Is this available in the? Can you download this?
Maybe
from
you can
America?
emulate it.
Yeah, I think you can emulate it. I don't know if it has any IP blocks or requires you to use a Chinese ID number. I still haven't gone through the process of signing up. But like it's linked in the article. I linked to the website.
Cool.
People also ask, how is this possible? China always gets away with this. Just a quick thing. If a company's in China, and let's say like Nintendo doesn't like this shit, Nintendo has like the option of basically suing them like America and Europe and like in Japan where they respect copyright laws. And if those companies have like any bank accounts in America or Japan, they can get those bank accounts confiscated and the money will be go to the copyright holder. But because they're based in China and the Chinese courts just don't give any Fs about copyrights, it seems that there's no recourse. You know, you can sue them in America, and even if you win, like there's no money to collect. They're not based in America. They're not based in Japan. They operate
Wait,
in
so
China.
how do Chinese companies protect their copyright?
They don't.
Oh,
they care?
They don't.
They can. Tencent did with Naruto.
Oh.
But
If they
have-
really try, they can. But again, it's not easy either. They knock off each other all the time.
that's Tencent. Tencent makes so much fucking money. It's
Yeah,
like
if you can bribe the judges, yeah. I don't want to dismiss their entire
Also,
legal
it's,
system.
It's
but
easier
yeah.
for like a Chinese judge like to support another Chinese company versus another Chinese company. Whereas, if you're like a Chinese judge, why would you want to like give money from your fellow Chinese people to like a foreigner? You know, like. So I think there's a bit of that going on.
We can end it with one example of more nonsense too, because for example, Apple actually got they were banned in Beijing from selling the iPhone 6s because of a local cell phone company claims they own the copyright to iPhones, and Apple's just ripping them off. Obviously, Apple's not ripping off this small shady Chinese company. The small shady company is ripping off and extorting Apple. It's so obvious that that's how it is. But because the local Beijing company is also Chinese, they got some sway with that local court that ruled in their favor. And Apple's trying to fight that now. So like copyright laws are a mess in China is the lesson, and you can get away with a lot of crazy things.
international copyright laws.
Yes. Yeah. It has to be local for you to be able to enforce it, really.
Also, I just want to talk about how cool that Lapras mount is.
Mm-hmm.
You can also ride like Dodrios and Rhyhorns and I can't. Oh, there's a Snorlax one where Snorlax carries you on his shoulder. It's
Well, yeah,
actually really
this
cool
game
stuff.
looks way more legit than PokemonGO in terms of actual meat on the bone. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's crazy.
If Nintendo made this game, they make so much money. Like they make crazy amounts of money. It's honestly, I don't even feel bad for Nintendo because they've had so many opportunities to make a Pokemon game that people actually wanted on mobile, online, and just do so much, and they really have not been on the ball.
And I should say before we go, we make fun of like China's copyright thing, but I think they have the right idea. Honestly, who cares? Like, they're not really hurting Nintendo by making this game, so just buckle.
Oh boy, here it comes.
Like just deal with it. If Nintendo's too lame to make their own Pokemon MMORPG, someone else will, right? In a free world. Communist China,
Right.
actually freer than the rest.
That doesn't give people the right to rob other people for their intellectual.
You're not robbing though.
intellectual
Robbing means I
property.
take it away from you.
You are.
How?
You are. You shouldn't
All right,
be
this is
able
after
to.
show. This is after show. We'll after show for
All
a
right.
little bit, and we'll discuss copyrights again. We did this before, and Altai is very passionate about copyrights, or rather, he doesn't support.
We'll
copyrights
yell
at all.
about copyrights later. If you want to hear this kind of nonsense and you're watching on YouTube, be sure to watch on Twitch live every Tuesday from 4 to 6ish
Yep.
PST. Peace, guys.
Later,
Take care.
guys.